Hello, Derek. How are you?
Hello, Nazum. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, thank you for giving me this opportunity to interview you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, friends, we have Derek here. He's one of the UK's busiest therapists working on referral basis. He has developed a unique system of working with clients. He has created different modalities like, Russian doll technique, the anxiety wheel, the anxiety solution. He also has programs like awesome mentoring and therapist programs. So let's get into the questions here. Derek, my first question for you is, how did you get into therapy?
Good question. So, I fell into therapy. I've been studying like self-help since about 1985. Various books,
Oh
Tony Robbins, stuff like that.
my, okay.
And then I went to see a therapist around about 1985 for weight loss
Okay.
and a hypnotherapist, and it worked. And I thought this is really amazing. But then I put it on the back burner in my life, so I lost weight and continued to put on weight a bit further on. But it did work at the time. And in my own life, I was like, I always knew I was getting great jobs, and I was quite successful in every career I did. And but there was one part of me that thought I wasn't good enough. And I think a lot of people suffer from this condition. You know what I mean? And so I thought I want to deal with this. And it's
Okay.
great when you can make that decision and say, well, I need to change. It's like a lot of clients come and see me and the same sort of perspective. Can you change me? And I said, well, do you really want to change? And I know I'd experienced it myself, and I really had enough of this, like imposter syndrome, if you call it that.
Yeah.
Looking back on that now, so I decided to go away, and I was in a room with 60 other people, and they said, "Does anyone here want to change?" And I thought, well, that's why I'm here. And does anyone want to, does anyone here suffer from, let's say, anxiety? And I thought, yeah. Does anyone here didn't feel good enough? And I thought they were speaking directly to me. I thought this guy is really good. Who's like directing. It meant everything to me what he was saying. So, and then what an undeniable process, let all that go today. And I thought, yeah, I put my hand up and I thought, your hand is in the air, take that hand down. People are going to stare at you, that normal sort of critical voice type thing. But I thought, no, stick your hand up. The only way you're going to change is actually follow through and do this. So I followed through, and then afterwards I had this intervention, and seriously, I mentally and physically changed, and I'm not that person that I was then. I tell this story loads of times, but seriously, it's so true. It's like I can't really get anxious. Even on today's call, here's living proof. We couldn't get on this Zoom call today, and I got a brand new Mac, a 14-inch, what do you call it, and all singing, all dancing. And you were saying, are you going to be long? I said, well, about 10 minutes now. And I said, by the way, I'm still chilled, which is quite good, really, because
Yes.
normally you'd be like, oh, God, I'm late for that appointment and stuff. Well, really, it's almost like it's like I've completely changed. I don't completely panic about stuff anymore. I used to worry about most things, and the things that people worry about are what other people think of them, and they're being judged and
Yes.
stuff like that.
True.
So now it's like, but when you're yourself, you can't really fail. But if you want to try and be somebody else, you'd always screw that up. So I decided to sort of own me, the good part of me. And after that, so then I felt so good after that intervention. I thought, I'm going to do this. I felt so good. I had to inspire other people. If I can change, and I had this for 55 years, I know I look young, but when I had this intervention like 8 years ago, I thought I wanted people to feel the same way.
Okay.
So I opened, well, I went to course after course after course to learn hypnotherapy, NLP, coaching, and stuff like that. And then I saw my first client, and I thought, yeah, it's quite good. So I was getting great results, but when they weren't so good, it's like then you go back. You never go back to how you were, but it's almost like a critical voice will say,
Yeah.
"Well, how come this hasn't worked for this person? It's worked for them before."
Hmm.
So I created products around that, my experience, and the best experience I get is from working with clients. So I developed the uh, anxiety wheel, which is a product how I show people how we can get change. I was actually going to share it on this Zoom call if I could, but I hadn't prepared for it. So maybe
Okay.
you can. Are you going to edit this out or keep it as it is?
Yeah, let it be as is,
Okay,
Derek.
no
If
problem.
you
So
want, I can make you co-host and you can share whatever you want to share.
yeah, because
It's
I think
fine.
if people just get rather than just hear me talk, it's a bit more
Yes.
exciting when you see
One
something
sec.
more
I'm gonna
interactive.
make you co-host, so let it be. Let it come naturally.
Okay, I need to find the share button. Minimize screen. There we go here. Share screen. So get up. I'm prepared to do this. So,
Mhm.
and it's my brand new computer. So now they go over here. This is what I show my clients. It's clients. There we are. The anxiety. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. That's a start. There's me with that cheesy face, and then well, you can't hear it. It doesn't matter. I'll guide you through it. So I show my clients. It's almost like it's a product I developed that I show people, and I used to say to the client in front of me, "Are you suffering from this?" When people do this, it's a choice, the word suffering, but people will say, "I suffer from anxiety." I say, "Well, how are you doing that?" Or they'll say, "I'm anxious," and I say, "Well, hi, I'm Derek," and it's become a part of their identity. And I believe that any form of therapy is almost like removing, disassociating them from that identity, and they can change and move forward. So,
Yes.
and you're getting the clients listening to this, and you're saying, "Do you do this?" And they go, "What? Negative thoughts or pictures of fearful situation?" They're getting the nod. You know, do you create feelings in your body? It's a CBT model, but it's also
Yeah.
a bit of other stuff as well. So then it creates feelings in your body, and it can become a behavior or a belief. So as we look at the anxiety, well, I'll make it a bit bigger. This go the whole screen, going through it. Negative thoughts or pictures create fearful situations, and they're giving me the nod, the anxiety wheel. So the client in front of me is saying they have hideous negative
Oh,
thinking. When people are doing anxiety, yeah, have you ever met anybody who does anxiety that's positive? I haven't.
no.
It's like, and their thoughts. And I say, by the way, are you thinking negative? And they go, yes. Do you say things like, "What if this happens?" Or
What
"What if?"
if this or that?
Which is like they're trying to predict the future. I say, "You're not psychic. How can you be? How can you be predicting the future? Have you ever got it wrong that you and you're disrupting that pattern?" So their thoughts create what we say has a fundamental impact, like can't, hope, and try. And I find people they will say, "I can't do this. I hope this is going to work." And that word "try," and NLP, the word "try." I don't sort of. I do. It's like if you try to do something, does it really work? And then, well, I've been told to try all the time, but it doesn't really get the outcome that you want sometimes. Yeah, not going to be so inflexible with this, but really it's just a model, and they'll relate to it as they go into that wheel. And I say to them, "Do you get feelings like anxious
Feelings.
feelings? Yeah, dizziness, panic, or fear?" And you chunk it down a bit further. Do you get feelings in your body like rapid breathing, tightness in your chest and shoulders, butterflies? And they're all going, they're going, yes, they sat there because you're talking their language really. And behaviors, these create behaviors which create beliefs, and all beliefs are, in my opinion, is an I am statement, which now becomes like a part of us. I am anxious, I am depressed, and I am
Depressed.
Derek. You know what I mean?
Worried.
It's like it becomes a part of our identity. And I'm worried. I worried, and I show them techniques how they can take back control. Really, obviously, scale. Everyone does the scale the anxiety, and when people don't know their level or where they start from, how they nearly change. So it's not a maybe I'm 6 or 10. It's like, what number is it out of 10? 10 is I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, and 0 is cool as a cucumber. What number do you feel in that situation? Well, I feel what 8. Yeah. So it's a very simple model that people get. Now, if they don't get this, I probably won't see them. Because I'm not Marva the magician.
Yes.
And so the techniques like put you back in control. I've got a simple A, B, and C model, which is if you relax your arms, yeah, and drop your jaw, which engages the parasympathetic nerves in your body. Just drop your
Yeah.
mouth just like that. I say to them, so you see your bottom teeth, and then you do some breathing. The breathing, make it simple. Imagine a birthday candle here, but don't blow the birthday candle out. You can do any number you like as you inhale, and then when you exhale slowly, and you know you're doing it correct through your mouth or your nose, wherever you feel comfortable with, the candle won't blow out.
Mhm.
That's your benchmark. It's a skill to breathe correctly, really, because when we're doing that frame of anxiety, we can imagine the worst case scenario that, oh, that thing makes me anxious. And I said, well, but with that thing can make you anxious, look around for the evidence. Is anybody else getting anxious? Or is it just you? If it's just you, relax and knowing it's not real, or get someone to sort you out. But recognizing it's not, find the evidence of your anxiety. If you can find it, you could be in grave danger and invite people in because it could be something serious. But otherwise, it's probably just made up in your mind. And like I say, that the brain doesn't know what's real or imagined. It really doesn't. And we can
Yes.
imagine the worst case scenarios, and we don't question them, do we?
Yeah. We
We think,
don't.
oh, I'm going to fail. Do you know one good way of explaining anxiety, which is to my clients, I say to them, if your hand was on a hot stove, yeah, how long would you leave it on there before you removed it?
Okay.
And they
Maybe
say,
split off a second.
yeah. And that I said to her, but when you're doing that thing you're doing, you've got your hand on a stove. All that negativity is your hand on a stove, and I do that metaphor all the time. And they somehow people get it, and when they don't get it, they're hanging on for some sort of reason. So yeah, the breathing in, I put numbers up. I've been chunked it down even further. No numbers, just breathing in, hold the breath for
Yeah.
let's say 5 and out slowly. But then notice the subtle difference because your mind's been tricking you all these years. You're going to trick it back. That's why the frame I come from. I've done that quick search now, and back to me over here.
Yes.
So
Thank you. It was a nice presentation, Derek. So that
thank you.
a person understands this. It could be CBT model or this model, that model doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like, end of the day, the client doesn't care if he
yeah.
or she is understanding what is
Mm.
happening with them and how they can get out of it. That matters a lot. So, back to your various developments, you
Mm-hmm.
have explained about the anxiety well beautifully.
Mm.
And my next question is about the Russian doll technique that you have
Okay, that's
developed.
pretty good. Yeah,
So, could you please explain more about the Russian doll technique?
yeah. Well, I developed this technique because I went on a course.
Mhm.
I always give credit to the person who I gave it, who came from, which was James Tripp. I went on one of his courses, and I've actually done the Russian doll technique with him, and he was quite impressed with it actually. And I thought, well, that's pretty good. He's the source. And so I was I've been doing that. Let's say change work for about 5 years. Yeah, when my dad was diagnosed with dementia,
Okay.
and it was hideous. And I thought, how the hell can I cope with this? And my dad was like my biggest fan, so I thought, I'm suffering here, and it's not very nice. And most people in life that want to who come to see me, they want to control something or take that control of something. And even that situation, it wasn't really nice, but I wanted to gain some sort of control, so I wasn't starting crying in front of the clients that came to see me. And so I thought, how can I work this reverse engineering wise? So I imagined almost like what I was doing, I was suffering. My poor dad, who was the best dad in the entire world, yeah, he was like losing it and not very, himself and forgetting who people were and stuff like that. And he was in a home, and I thought, I don't want to see this. It's really destroying me. It's horrible. I thought, how can I cope with this? So I sort of stepped back out of the situation and thought, what am I doing? And what I was doing was I was feeling sorry for myself. I call the condition Nicola Mann, one of the people who did the awesome mentoring with me. She termed the condition as POM. It's called poor old me. You know, and people say, I said, well, maybe you're suffering from POM. They go, what's that? Poor old me. And if I go first, when I tell my story with the Russian doll, you can get away with murder, really, because I've experienced it myself. So I imagined, because like I said to you beforehand at the top of the interview, it's like the brain doesn't know what's real or imagined. So I imagined going into a tiny Russian doll, a vessel, let's say. Where I got the idea from, I just don't know. It just came a download or something. And I thought, this is all my struggling. This is how I'm feeling vulnerable and not very good. And my dad told me how much he loved me and stuff like this. And I was feeling quite weak and vulnerable, and I almost like shrinking,
Hmm.
And I likened it to when people come and see me, they're in their issue. I was literally living from the issue, and I say, like a little tiny Russian doll. Where is it? That
Yeah.
one of my hypnotherapist colleagues sent me that. And I always use that for clients. It's the smallest one you can get. So then I thought if I can step out of that, metaphorically speaking, yeah, and step into a medium sized Russian doll, and remember all the times in my entire life how much my dad loved me, he supported me and gave me encouragement and stuff like that. And remember the good times and to be so grateful for that. So, and have a visceral feeling and making it bigger and bigger and bigger in a medium sized Russian doll. Then you go to a larger Russian doll, and then you make it even bigger than that. There's more to it than this. That I've actually included an anchor at the same time.
Okay.
And as I'm feeling really good and unstoppable, imagine going back to where I came from with all
Okay.
that negativity. It's like they weren't me. It's like oil and water. Why would I go back over there when I'm sort of feeling so good and powerful and strong here? And it just sort of stuck. And I thought, this is quite good actually. One day I was watching YouTube as you do, and I'll show you the next video I found, which I
Sure.
converted into a Russian doll one. So it's almost like the proof I need, because when people come to see me, even like myself, it's like I need the evidence. How does this stuff work? You know,
Hmm.
do I have to believe in it? No, you don't have to believe in it. It's this is the science behind it. So this is the next video. I don't. Oh, you can't hear the volume. I don't know why. I have to talk through it. That's just interesting. So the brain doesn't know what's the brain does not know the difference between what is real or imagined. Yeah,
True.
and this is like it's the same neural chemistry is going on in your mind. Yeah, when you have these thoughts and stuff. So we go to this little movie. That's the synapses of the brain and the neurons, and they're almost like wired. And obviously, when this guy's thinking about something, she's had a bad memory. The memory latches onto that thing, and it becomes stronger and stronger. It's like a well-trodden path. You've heard of that. And our minds work exactly the same way. So the most fundamental thing he says, I'm skipping it there, is rather than stimulus and response and that same old automatic reaction, yeah, if you change it and become an observer of you doing that thing, it can't work so effectively. So when you become sort of like a rather than stimulus and response and that not almost like reaction, like the Pavlov's dog thing, yeah. But then you change it and you become an observer, and you're an observer because you're two positions away from where you were before in that little tiny Russian doll. It changes. You can't do it so effectively. And as we're doing the Russian doll, yeah, we're breaking the neurons are actually changing. Look, you'll see here, they're separating. They're coming off there. They
Yeah.
make a little crunchy noise. You know, oh my God, she feels quite happy now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and when people do that, it's hard to get back to how they used to do this stuff before. As I mentioned, when in that large Russian doll, why would I want to go back there? Because my neural chemistry has changed. And like people
Yes.
say, well, that sounds really good, but then if you think about it, if you laugh at your problems, you can change it too. If you don't take it so seriously, the issue, then suddenly the neural chemistry in your brain changes too. So I introduced like funny music and stuff, playing that thing. As you have that music of I don't know Mickey Mouse or whatever. What's it like now? Well, they can't take it so seriously. If they don't take it so seriously, well, they haven't got a serious problem.
Awesome.
So that's how the Russian doll technique. I use it for clients though. So I developed it, yeah, using it on myself, but then I use it for clients. And one thing I found really works with is gambling.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see a gambler for just 3 sessions, and they'll stop gambling.
Wow.
And that's every gambler I've seen. I've been, people say the 100% success rate was, I can categorically say, hand on heart, that everyone who's seen me for gambling has stopped gambling.
Wow.
And and I got the evidence, so I check in with them as well. So they've all stopped gambling, and because what you're doing is you're using them against themselves on a gambler, and usually like their children and stuff, and when they're in the second doll and they're crying because daddy spent all the money, and the kids got no presents that year, and you hit them hit them in the heart sort of thing, and as they leave there, they go, oh God, I don't want to gamble anymore. And you reinforce it and reinforce it, so it
Lovely.
really works. Very
Yeah.
successful for gamblers. What else? And drug use too.
Oh.
Yeah, but with the drug use, it's almost like if someone has cocaine, or it's usually not the cocaine. That's not the problem. The problem is they're probably drinking too much. Then the cocaine just seems to start, And then, but thing is, if they like themselves, because I say to my clients, on a scale from 100, how much do you like yourself? And they think it's the most weirdest question they've ever had because no one's ever asked them. It's not a weird question, really. But I said, if you like yourself more than what you probably think you are, why would you abuse your body? Why would you
Yes.
threaten your life? And they sort of get it. And it's, I'm not saying that works for everybody with addiction. Gambling, I don't call gambling addiction though. It's a habit. And I sort of break it down that way. It's like, these aren't addictions. Heroin is an addiction, but gambling and cocaine aren't. I see people with cocaine and they get off that habit. And when you say it's a habit, it's more palatable because it is. I mean, you weren't born with cocaine up your nose. You weren't born gambling. It's just something we created, just like that little anxiety well there. I am a gambler. It becomes a belief, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you disempower the person, where you separate the identity from the individual, then suddenly they can see they can change. Because don't forget, they've been talking to people for a long time about their problem. In fact, this lady I saw the other day, she was here for 40 minutes.
True.
And I said, "Is this helping you?" And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "We're talking about the problem." I said, "The way I work is I just want two sentences, what is it you want to change today? And how would you like to feel? And probably more how you want to feel, the solution of it, as opposed to the problem. Because the problem, you can talk to a lamppost and feel 10% better. It's not going to fix anything or change anything, is it? I don't. That's my belief. And usually the people come and see me, they have a story, a well-crafted story. And you know, oh God, there's that story. And they want to get the story out. And I said, how many times do you tell that story, by the way? So anyone will listen to me. I said, whenever you tell that story, I'll show them that neurons that fire together because they're literally rewiring it together in their mind. I can't do this. I can't do this. I hope this works. And it's almost like we become like a little tiny version of ourselves, that sort of victim that we do. And then we create beliefs. Oh, I don't think I'll ever change. There's a belief. I show people they can change. And it's quite funny how, because well, not quite funny, but I mean, when people come and see me, they're so skeptical. They really are. Oh, I don't think I can change. Well, I've
Yes.
seen all your reviews; they're really great. And I said, well, what's different with you? And you got two arms, you got two legs, but you got a good old belief going in there. That's all,
Yeah.
which is true, isn't it? And and their problems bigger than anybody else's I've ever seen and stuff. And it's just a belief.
Yes.
I don't like to. I mean, what I'm doing really is almost like antidoting the problem and trivializing it in a nice way. I usually go first, like I said, with my dad's story, so I can get away with murder if you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the anxiety. That's the Russian doll technique in a sort of nutshell, really. But it's used for different
Yes. Yes.
applications. In fact, I've seen someone this afternoon after this call, and this guy, we used it for him for. He's a singer in a band, and it's like he had this belief that I need to leave the stage because I feel really horrible. I said, I say to most people, where do you feel that in your body, head, chest, or stomach? He goes, head. So I just my immediate it's a trauma, and you got to be Columbo, to try and figure out what it is. You know, to find out what it is really, but they need some sort of solution or resolution to let it go. And I said, if you can remember a time in your life where you had that sort of experience when you felt, I don't know, trapped or vulnerable, because he said he felt trapped on the stage. And I said, what does that remind you of? Didn't get anything, so we did timeline. And I said, when the very first time you felt that feeling of fear?
Mm.
And he said, what was it? When I was 8 years old. I said, what are you doing? He said, I was in the car. And I said, what were you doing in the car? He says, it was a car crash. All he said was a car crash, but I sort of peeled away a few layers. So where were you sat in the car? In the front. What were you doing? I was drawing. So if you're drawing something and you're so absorbed in drawing and suddenly you have this impact, whoosh, you know what I mean? It's quite disruptive. No wonder he gets this thing in his head. And I said to him, by the way, when you're on that stage and you're feeling sort of vulnerable, what does it feel? How old do you feel? That's it. I feel very young. Isn't it funny how we just sort of lop it forward? So what does that 9-year-old need to let go of that stuff? Da da da. They need to feel safe. Da 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 da. That's what they were missing. And then what's it like now? As you can imagine yourself playing in that band. And I always keep in contact with my clients. In a sort of professional way. How's it going? And he said to me, his last concert was his first one was. It was last week, the very first one. I've seen him it'll be his third session today. I'm only seeing him for 3. And because he had nothing, nothing what is changing in his life. And first session, he said, I feel really good now. On a scale from 1 to 10, when you played last week, was it like 2? Now, 2 for him was really good because it was 10 before. That was only one session. Next session, what's it like? I said, I guarantee next session you'll be flying. And yeah, you were right, I was flying. And I said, this is the last session today. And I said, I know how the mind works in some respects. Like, if we do something once, yeah, it's okay. We've done it. He's accomplished it once, a tiny bit of fear. He's done it twice, and that's pretty good. And if you do it 3 times, it's almost like the brain goes off high. The accelerator on that driving on the foot takes itself off a bit as we sort of go, we've done that now, it's no big deal. As we sort of relax into, when we relax into it, you can't get the stuff back as what you used to do, because the brain goes, well, I've done it once, done it twice, done it 3 times, and now it's a non-issue. And then you just know they've changed. And I use that with the Russian doll, like I was saying before. So that's one way of describing how it works for performance anxiety too. even yesterday I saw this client, this girl. She was 14 years old with the Russian doll thing. And I thought, oh God. You know, those ones that if you work with teenagers, some people aren't very expressive, and it's almost like this. I don't know. I don't know. What if you did know? You know, you did that one. They still don't know, and or they'll say, I don't know, but then they'll answer the question. So, and every time she did that one, so I don't know, but you know, so I think with her, as we did the Russian doll with her, and she was flying. This is a girl who, it was like she's frightened about any sort of public speaking. So
Mhm.
I know what I know what it feels like to actually do public speaking. I know the sort of horribleness it is. And in fact, I was watching me doing a public speaking. Must have been about 5 years ago. I've still got it on tape. It must be like punishment. And now I can sort of just smash it through because I don't have that critical voice in my head that's judging me. Because I recognise it's not them, it's you. And when you get that sort of that little nugget, you can simply fly because no one judges us as much as we judge ourselves. And she was doing the same thing, but she was blaming it on those people out here that was making her, you know, anxious. And when we get the loop that we're doing in our mind, it's not them people, because you can have 20 people looking at, or even one or three. It doesn't matter on the numbers. It's our mindset that's brought into the fact that I'm in danger. I'm being judged. I said, who's judging you really? Me. So if you're judging yourself, can't it be? And what's that voice sound like? It's an angry voice. So I just said to her, I said, well, if you can, and she's great. She's great with her imagination.
Mm.
So I said, if you can just close your eyes a sec, then imagine a lever or a dial and flick the switch and change all those voices to Cantonese in a nice Cantonese voice, and then turn it down. What's it like now? You can see her sort of giggling, and see if you can get it back. Like she can get it back. So that's like the voices dealt with. I think next week we're going to deal with the part that doesn't particularly like herself. That's the issue, not public speaking. It just sort of leaks out in those areas. Because if you like yourself suddenly, and you believe you're good enough, and you trust that inner warmth you have, then you can do anything. Because negativity is like having that hand on that stove. Yeah. So don't
Lovely.
be judgy.
That's amazing. Okay. Um, you also developed something called the Anxiety Solution Program, Derek.
Yeah.
So could you please tell more about? Is it the extension of your Anxiety Wheel program,
It is.
or like?
It's more comprehensive. The anxiety solution is almost like it's like I've forgotten how many hours are in there because what during the lockdown I thought I gave away lots of free group sessions because people were too frightened to leave the house and stuff. So I was doing like these group sessions. But I said that as long as they're there, we can use those for a product. And they said yeah. So I was helping them, but also helping me at the same time. So there's a product out there, and there's like me working with different people in a group setting. That I think it started off about 25 people there, just using the Russian doll technique with these 25 people. That was pretty good. I've never done it before. It just, but it works, you know. And if it doesn't work, we don't know why it didn't work. So what's stopping you changing? Oh, I don't know. I'm special, really. So it does work, and you'll see me working live with people. And it's like and there's also hypnosis ones could be started with a vacation holiday vacation thing. It was an idea from Sheila Granger, and so people can't go away for holidays. So we every week we did a holiday to whatever destination they voted for. It's like Disneyland, safari, and all these exotic places, and on a beach, that sort of thing. But there's like 15 of them just in that section, so you can listen to them at night as you learn to relax and just drift away to where we want to go. And there's also lots of techniques within. So therapists are buying the product. You know, strangely, that's how it started years ago. I developed the anxiety wheel, and the most people who were buying it were therapists. I thought there's more of a market for this than the
Yeah.
clients. It was crazy because they thought they can use it for their clients too. And so there was like then I developed other products just for therapists, and then now I've amalgamated into both. So I got two bites of the cherry because I do awesome mentoring, which is it was for therapists, but now it's also mentoring like coaching for any clients who want to take their business to the next level or their career or the same thing or whatever's holding them back. So we work on that issue, and it's pretty cool.
Wow.
So it's
And you
client
also,
led.
sorry? Yeah.
It's client led.
Okay.
Whatever they bring to the table, we get rid of.
Yeah. And you also developed your awesome mentoring program. So that is what you were talking about, Derek, which you have developed
Yeah.
for therapists and coaches.
Yeah, so that's like it's an online coach. It's an online course like the Anxiety Solution. So it
Mhm.
shows how I work with clients. There's like real client sessions in there, so you can see how I work with people and take nuggets of information there. How you deal with a difficult client, what to do when it all goes wrong. You know, that's the people the things that people want to know, not just waffly the history of this and all that sort of jazz. You know, the boring stuff. This is like the meat and the veg, just the salient points. It's
And
free, by the way.
sorry.
It's an online course. They pay one fee and they get it for life. And you
Okay.
also get a member of the awesome therapist Facebook group where we try. There's a word try to do monthly, but the monthly ones are sort of as I get busier, it's hard for me to actually engage in that group. To be honest, so it's not as regular as I'd like it to be. But we'll start soon, I think.
Excellent. Excellent. And how is your like awesome mentoring and this therapist programs different from other business coaching programs? Derek?
Because we work on the individuals. In other words, say somebody's got a problem, I don't know, even connecting with clients, or it starts from obviously you have to be trained in what you're doing, yeah,
Hmm.
and to know your stuff at such a level that if it goes wrong, you can deal with it. So you're almost like very robust. I get the odd client I can't deal with, and I'll send them to somebody else because they've almost like they broke those three red flags. Because I think the illusion people get into when they're successful with clients is they think everyone's going to be the same, and they're not. And when it goes wrong, it's like, oh God, I need to learn more stuff. No, 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 you don't have to learn any more stuff. They probably weren't the right person for you. Notice what they did. They arrived 2 hours early. They messaged you when you said don't message. And stuff like they broke all the rules that you set up anyway, and you're still seeing them because you've had successes everywhere. You know what I mean? And you think, well, I can deal with this person, and it's all human beings become a bit jaded and think, well, I can help everybody. I can't help everybody. Trust me, some people don't want to change, and or there's no rapport there, and so those people I will send somewhere else.
Okay.
That's it. So, but then I show people how, if you've got a tricky client, how to deal with a tricky client, but also from the how to market your business because it is a business at the end of the day to get people to come in.
Yes.
So it's almost like what I've done to become successful, and techniques how to deal with those clients. Yeah, there's actually forms, everything you need to actually get started and to be successful. And to have that hand holding on the way, because some people think, well, I can't see so and so, and I've got a belief about money, I can't charge this. And we work with that so they can now charge what they're worth. Because it's really bizarre how people charge £40 for a session. It's like an insult. And what you do there is you get people who are like, oh, we'll give that a try, we'll give that a try, and they're not really committed to change. So I say to people, you spent thousands of pounds, like all those things behind you. You want to, and you invest constantly in your career. You should charge accordingly, especially if you get results. You know. So I instill that belief in the therapists I work with, and some people say I can't charge. Yeah, you can. You know, just not at the moment, perhaps, but you will be able to do that. But usually in one session, they can charge what they're worth. Now that figure could be anything they feel comfortable with. And
Yes.
I was taught charge what you feel slightly uncomfortable with, because when you change it, you might want to go, oh, I'm going to charge a bit more. But I believe you can charge what you want. You know, people will pay for people will pay for your services if they really want to change, and if they don't, there's lots of people far cheaper than me. Yeah,
Awesome. So,
yeah.
thank you very much, Derek, because this is what you have researched with your Russian doll technique, anxiety wheel, the anxiety solution, and you also developed wonderful programs for fellow therapists and coaches. So
Hmm.
it's all about your research, and it's wonderful talking to you. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And it was nice to know the unique developments which are born out of your experience, and it is really making difference in so many lives.
Thank
So
you very much.
yeah, it was very nice talking to you. Thank you
Pleasure.
once again.
Thank you for your time too,
Thank you.
and thank you for